Art Explorers. I'm so excited to talk to you today about two fun projects that you can do that involve science. Now don't be worried, it's still very artistic. In fact, I love STEAM projects. STEAM projects involve science and math and technology and art. So today we're going to talk about surface tension. And surface tension is, if you've ever seen those little bugs that seem to sort of skate on top of water, and even though the bug is heavier than the water, they don't fall through. Surface tension is the elastic skin of interlocking molecules that sort of exists naturally on liquids. We're going to take advantage of that surface tension to do two things. So the first thing you can do, and you might save these for next week to use in a really fun project I'm going to show you. The first thing you can do is put paint, or specifically ink, on top of the surface of the water to create an effect like this. This is called suminagashi, and it's a Japanese term for putting ink on top of water. And I'll show you in a little bit how I blew the ink to make those fun patterns. You can also layer the different inks. I did purple first, and then I put black ink on top of this one, which is kind of fun. You can also take advantage of surface tension and do some chalk marbling. You might have some sidewalk chalk hanging around that you could use to make something like this. Isn't that so pretty? Lots of different flecks of chalk. And I'm going to show you how I did it. I took advantage of that surface tension to make this really pretty paper. So stick around, let me show you how to use surface tension to make art. Boys and girls, the first thing you're going to want to do is to find a container that you can put water into. I just used an old plastic drawer actually for this one. I filled it a little bit with lukewarm water, and then you can see I dipped a paintbrush into ink. I experimented with a lot of different kinds of ink, and you might have success with thinned down acrylic paint too. You probably noticed that I was then blowing carefully on the surface of the water. The trick with this is to put your paintbrush tip just right on the tip of the water, but not through, to not break that surface tension. Also, you can see when I put my paper on, oh, isn't that fun? I didn't dip it all the way or dunk it into the water. I carefully put the paper on top. Let me show you one more time how I did it. I'm carefully putting some ink on the surface of my water. I'm blowing it into some patterns, and I'm carefully laying my paper just on top. Then when I pull it up, it reveals my really cool pattern, and then I hung those to dry. The second thing I can do is I can use surface tension for chalk marbling. I used some chalk pastels in this case, but you could also experiment with sidewalk chalk. Some sidewalk chalk is better than the other, but experiment, see what works for you. What you're trying to do is scrape a little bit of the chalk onto the surface of the water. In my case, I opened up a pair of scissors and I'm carefully scraping a little bit of the chalk off. You might have success with a plastic knife or a knife from your kitchen table, but make sure you ask your parents what they think would be best for you to use. Once you have all the chalk floating on the water that you like, now you need to put your paper carefully on top. The way I put my paper on is I hold the two corners, and the middle of the paper makes a little bit of a dip that goes into the water first, and then I carefully push the edges down onto the water. Remember, we're not trying to dunk it into the water. We want it to go just on top, and then when I pull it up, it brings the chalk with it. Sometimes that chalk can flake off, so a way that you can set or make sure that your chalk pastel sticks to the paper is actually spray it with a little bit of hairspray. That'll work as a fixative. You can see I'm doing it one more time. I decided I wanted some different colors. So I floated them on top and I put it on something I had done the suminagashi to. Doesn't that look fun? I like being able to layer those. So that's how I use surface tension of water to make some suminagashi prints and some chalk marbling. These are some examples you're seeing of some of the fun experiments I had. Remember, these are experiments. It might take you a while to get it right. But sometimes when you make mistakes, those turn out to be the most interesting too. Make sure to save some for next week. We've got a really fun project planned. And if you have fun doing it, make sure to let me know. Bye!